Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about Roger Corman Fantastic Four film that was made in the 90s, then dumped and not released, and then there's been like unofficial copies released through the internet and via like conventions. So even though the film was destroyed, it still exists, and you can easily find it if you're looking for it. Just check on YouTube or check various places. You'll find it if you really want to find it. It's at this point now that Marvel isn't trying to suppress it. Marvel actually has cameos from the Fantastic Four from this film and the new Fantastic Four film. Like they're good with it. It's one of those things. It's like it happened, and embarrassingly for the people who made certain other Fantastic Four films, it's better than the Fox Fantastic Four films, even though it's had no money. It's charming and it's very weird, and it has moments of complete boredom, but also has moments of like, this is wonderfully charming. So it's a strange film. So this story, you can go and see a film called Doomed all about all of this. It's about an hour and a half. It's a good documentary. I think I'd covered it years ago, and essentially they made the film. They gave Roger Corman a limited budget to make the film, because Constantine Pictures wanted to keep the rights. I think it's Constantine the company. They wanted to keep the rights so they could make Fantastic Four, but they hadn't actually managed to get the film made at this point. And they would lose their rights to it if no film was made by a certain point. And it was like, well, we want to do it, but we're not quite ready to do it yet. It's because Fantastic Four needs a budget, and Fantastic Four needed like CGI to actually be in good shape to make it. Otherwise you just have a lot of bad effects, which didn't stop the Fox films from having bad effects. They had tons of bad effects. They weren't charming, they were just bad. so they made they gave Roger Corman money. I think it was $1 million, I think, or something, to make a Fantastic Four film that would just be released to see it as a film and release, but we're going to do a much bigger version later. This is just to be in the meantime. So they hired a director, hired a writer, and had to work out what they had, which basically was the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom. That's what they had, basically, the rights to. They had Galactus as well, but Galactus would have cost too much money. So the Fantastic Four is made. So they hire 4 actors to play it. Actors who are in the lower budget range. Like Alex Hyde White, who played Reed Richards, was an actor who was in lots of TV shows. He was in the film Biggles. He's one of those actors who you see, you know the face. It's like, oh, it's him. You know, you've seen him in different things. It's him. One of those actors. They hired the guy who plays Johnny Storm, whose name I'm suddenly blanking on. He's another one of those actors whose face you go, oh, it's him. I know that guy from somewhere. The guy playing Ben Grimm, The Thing, is also one of those actors who I didn't know, but apparently he is one of those actors who's in stuff. And there was an actress who played Sue Storm who I'd never seen before. Or again, really. Maybe in America it's better known, but I don't know. So basically, it was they got a low budget cast of TV actors or actors who've been in some films but weren't like leads or anything, and said, we're doing Fantastic Four, you can have the leads, so you get a lead role in a film, and we're going to go do make it. We don't have much money, we're just going to try and do it with some charm and some get up and go. 90 minutes long. It's not going to be like a masterpiece of great special effects, but we're going to try. So they went and started filming it. They had to have a different actor to play the Thing from playing Ben Grimm, because there's a height problem with the actor who played Ben Grimm, who was too tall, but he could voice the Thing later on. So and to be honest, the Thing's the best part of the film, really. Even though some of the makeup for the suit is not amazing, it does have some charm to it. It is this of that 90s thing where some of the face is done using like old school techniques, and it still feels like an actor in a suit that it does have a kind of low budget charm. And the film has a problem with some of the scripting, but the actors actually put their all into it. The guy playing Doctor Doom puts his all into playing Doctor Doom. The actors playing Fantastic Four, they put their all into it. Even when they're given like cheesy stuff to do, they understand the cheesy nature of the material and they go for it. You know. And the funny thing is, this is the one that gets Reed Richards better than the live action films. I've not seen the new Marvel one yet. I'll be seeing it tomorrow or something. But he's the best Reed Richards. He's better than the ones they had in the Fox movies. It was like, at least for him, you can tell he's playing a guy who's got too many ideas. His brain's always going, and he's a bit awkward. And it's like, and there is a charm to the performance. It's like, oh yeah, he's much better than whoever else they cast in this part. Because you get the kind of, I mean, Miles Teller had the intellect, but didn't have the weird charm of the character. And the guy from the other one, I don't know what he was doing. It just wasn't working. But most performances in that film those two films weren't working. So I think it's more of a director and writing thing. Because it's one of those ones where all the actors in those two Fox films were competent, but still given weird shit to do, so it's like, well, yeah. So, the guy playing Ben Grimm is also a lot of fun. He's like the pal of Reed Richards, and he's a much more get up and go and action man thing, but he's a lot of energy, a sense of he loves life, he loves being who he is. So when he becomes the Thing and he's suddenly this creature, it totally destroys him because that's not who he was in life. So you do get a sense of that's who they are. Sue Storm and Johnny Storm are two kids who Ben Grimm roomed in their house when they were younger, when he was a student. So they know him from childhood. So they grow up. They're like into science as well, and they've got a kind of gee whiz attitude and a sense of adventure. And it's like, even though it's cheesy, it really is like, oh yeah, this feels comic booky and charming in its own way. It's like, and the actors are really into the performance. And so even though you can see the budget limitations, it's like, okay, I buy this group. It's Fantastic Four. I don't buy many of the effects of Fantastic Four, but I buy the group. And that keeps going even when the script suddenly has to kill half an hour. Because they have this setup where Reed Richards and Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, do an experiment. Von Doom is injured badly and everyone thinks he's dead. Years later, Reed Richards does another experiment which turns him on to Fantastic Four. And it sets all that up well, and then suddenly they're having to deal with the powers, but also they're under guard by apparently the army, but it's really all been messed around with by Dr. Doom. But at the same time, a blind woman that Ben Grimm ran into before he became a Thing has been kidnapped by this thief who was meant to be the Mole Man, but wasn't because they couldn't get the rights to that character, so it became this weird character that doesn't quite work, and there's a lot of silly, like, the score for him is just too silly, and it's like, it drags the film down quite a bit, but you get through it. And it does tie into Doctor Doom's story, so it's not that big of a problem, ultimately. It's just one of those pace killers. It's like, they had an hour's worth of story, and then they had to kill time because they didn't have that much money, so they had to do these human monsters. The funny thing is, this film reminds me of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, but done better. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace was goofy as hell, and had lots of really awkward moments, but this one is the same thing but with bad special effects, but done better. Like, this has a small section of boringness while Superman 4 had the full film. But yeah, so you can see that some of the effects aren't working, and they don't have time to do a lot of the fights right, but they get the character into the action working, and that kind of gets you through a lot of it. You have the Thing being angry at Reed Richards for turning him into this thing. He has to go on his own for a bit before he comes back and joins the team, and they all get together to defeat Doctor Doom. all comic booky, but all works perfectly fine within this kind of 90-minute film. Now, yeah, the special effects are rubbish. The 90s special effects, the CGI is basic CGI, like stuff that are basically anytime you see the Human Torch, it looks like a PlayStation 1, maybe a PlayStation 2 graphic, which is good to do at the time and a low budget, but it looks bad. It looks really bad. But again, it's charming. There's a laser beam coming towards New York, and all that sequence is really cheesy, but I had a lot of fun with how cheesy it was. But again, because the actors were playing it real, even when there were those things happening, it just seemed weird. And things happen, and a lot of goofy stuff happened, but it all kind of comes together. It all is enjoyable. And the thing is, this film is still better than the 2005 Fantastic Four film, which was bloody awful. And the funny thing is, when people saw that film, was like, why is the Roger Corman film better? And then they did the sequel, and then they did the Josh Trank one, and I was thinking, why is the Roger Corman film better? Because it is. It's more close to the Fantastic Four. Now, I have some nice things to say about the Josh Trank one. The first hour has its own thing going on. It's interesting before it gets taken over by the studio and messed around. But it is, I can see why Fantastic Four fans were not a fan of it. But this one does have a weird charm to it. And I think it's one of those things is no one's ever going to defend this as a really good film. I think everyone's going to defend it as it's charming but goofy. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like, it's a guilty pleasure. But the actors really gave their all. You can sense that in the film. And so the film was made. It came out. If you like those kind of Charles Bandish, kind of low budget films from that era, you're going to have a lot of fun with this one. It's low budget even for the Charles Band films. Because it's Roger Corman in that era where he was doing very low budget films. But it still has charm. So what happened was, once the film was done, some people saw it and said, we can't release this is too low budget, we'll just buy it. You've made the film so you can keep the rights for a while, but we're going to buy it and we're going to bury it, and we'll pay Roger Corman back because he was going to release it through Concord. We'll pay him off, the rights situation's still going on, but we just won't release it. And of course everyone knew about it, and it started to come out in conventions. You know, it got leaked, and people have been seeing it for years. You know, it's like, it's one of those like films where I think every print of it has been destroyed, so there's no physical original print. It's just like old VHS copies that have been upgraded as much as they could be. So that's just the way it's going to be. But that's part of the charm, is it was suppressed. That goofy film was suppressed. And there's so many other comic book films that should have been suppressed that weren't. Why can't you suppress Spawn? You know, Spawn is much worse. Yeah, so that's the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. Go look for it. It's worth your time if you like a certain kind of cheesy 90s B movie. So that's me for now. I'll see you later. Right, bye.